What's good, YouTube? Swiftly here, back with another video of ranking 500 plus video game franchises. As you can see here, we have gone through quite the amount of video games, but we do still have quite a few video games. As you can see as I scroll down this list, we have quite of the bunch of video games left. To start out with, I'm going to continue to knock out a lot of these ones that I haven't played yet, which we'll start with The Escapist. Never played this. To be honest with you, I've never even heard of The Escapist. Shonen Jump crossover game series, another game that I haven't played. Again, not really much of a fighting game player anymore. Farming Simulator, I have played, and I'm gonna be honest, just not my bag, bro. I'm gonna throw that in not good along with Bus Simulator. Just my opinion. Obviously, for those who like simulator type games, I'm sure you might enjoy it, but for me, just wasn't it. I've played a quite few of the simulator games. I played like Goat Simulator, Farming Simulator, Bus Simulator. I've played Firefighter Simulator. I played Forestry Simulator. I've played trying to think of, there was like another one, lawn mowing simulator. I've played quite a few of these games, and they're just not my bag, man. They just really are not my bag, and I'm not afraid to admit that they're just not really my thing. Just not a fan of those types of games. I think Chrono again is another series that I haven't played, but I've heard of, especially Chrono Cross. Like that's like one of those classic type of games that everybody talk about. Just really big series, but personally never played. Team Fortress, again, another one of those really big like legendary video game franchises. Personally, especially Team Fortress 2, but I've never played Team Fortress, so I couldn't really speak on it. That's just my opinion, So I'm putting never played. I mean, at some point I probably will play it, because I do know that to this day people still play Team Fortress 2, and it's still a thing, but just personally never played. But since we're on the topic of Valve and Team Fortress and all of that, I figure we might as well just go ahead and go with another Valve game, and that's going to be Half-Life, the Half-Life series, and I'm personally going in Masterpiece. Now, I'm going to just go ahead and throw another Valve game on there as well, too, which we've played. Now, for me, Portal, I'm going in very good. I wouldn't go just to Masterpiece. But I played first Portal. I've never played Portal 2. I've played Portal 1. And I've played Half-Life. I've played Half-Life 2. I've played Half-Life 2 Episode 1 and 2. Haven't played Half-Life Alyx yet, but I've played a good portion of the Half-Life series. And I've played, one of the two Portal games. And honestly, my experience with Half-Life, Portal, Team Fortress, and all of that stuff came with the orange box. Which I remember the first day I bought Orange Box, man. I literally remember like it was yesterday. I bought Orange Box. It was a Friday, right? It was Friday afternoon. I had just gotten paid. I got paid. I bought a used copy of the Orange Box for PS3. And I bought some Chinese food, man. And I remember sitting down, I ate, and then afterwards I opened up Orange Box, popped it in, played it, and I remember I didn't do it. It was a nice weekend too. It was a very nice weekend. This was like, I want to say June or July when I played this, and I remember not doing anything that entire weekend, bro. I remember literally just binge playing all of Half-Life. Probably didn't beat all of the games like in that one weekend, but I definitely beat like Half-Life 2 and then started like episode 1. And I just remember that weekend I did nothing but play Half-Life and Portal. I did nothing. I didn't play anything else. I didn't go outside. Like, I didn't play, basketball or anything with my friends. I didn't go out with my friends. I didn't do anything. I literally just stayed in the entire weekend and just played Half-Life nonstop. And then, if I did take a break, it was to play Portal on the orange box. And then when I got tired of Portal, I went right back to Half-Life. And then once I got tired of Half-Life, I went right back to Portal. Then once I got tired of that, I went right back to Half-Life. But I remember that weekend like it was yesterday, bro. I really do. And that was really my first experience with Half-Life. And then, of course, eventually I went back and played the first Half-Life. But for me, that was just like, I don't know, bro. It was just an eye-opening experience, and for me, it was just a masterpiece. I have nothing bad to say about any of the Half-Life games. Like, to me, they were all spectacular games, bro. And for me, Half-Life is one of those series where, like, I kind of wish I could go back. It's one of those games where, like, I kind of wish I could just wipe my memory. Like, I could get that device from Men in Black and just flick it, wipe my memory, and play that game again. Like, to go through Ravenholm, we don't go to Ravenholm to have that experience again of just pure and utter, like, fear and suspense around every freaking corner, bro. Like, I miss that. I miss not have, like, just that experience from, like, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3, Nemesis chasing you, popping up out of nowhere. That first experience of, like, Final Fantasy 7 or Final Fantasy 9 or even 4 or 6. That first experience of playing Super Mario World and learning about, like, the secret exits, or, the first time playing Red Dead or Red Dead 2. Like, just that experience, like, that's when you're playing a masterpiece, where you really just yearn to have that experience again. Or even Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas, Vice City, GTA 3, GTA 4, just those experiences, bro. That's what masterpieces are, really made of. Just making you yearn for that experience again, wanting to experience that again, So Half-Life definitely up there for me, for sure. Next series, I guess we could talk about Elder Scrolls. And Elder Scrolls, I'm just gonna put above average, bro. Or I'm putting above average. Now, I know people are gonna cook me for saying Elder Scrolls just above average, but I have very limited experience with Elder Scrolls. Only Elder Scrolls games I ever played was Oblivion. Well, no, I played Oblivion and I've played Skyrim. And those are the only two games I played. I played Oblivion, I played Skyrim. I have very limited experience with Elder Scrolls. So I don't think that I can. But the small amount that I did play, I'm just like, again, one of those series where it's like, I don't know. I can't really speak on whether I can say whether or not these games were for me, because I think I just haven't really played enough of them to really say. But I would say above average for sure. Definitely not average. Definitely not, like, below average or not good or trash. I mean, you know what? I could go with good. I feel like above average, like, where I put Saints Row and, like, Sly Cooper, I feel like Elder Scrolls is kind of better than those games. So as a series, so I'm gonna go with good. I'm not gonna go very good or masterpiece, but I'm gonna go good. I know people are gonna kill me in the comments for that, but it is my opinion. You know what I'm saying? I am ranking these based on my opinion, my experience with these games. Turok, I've played Turok on PS3, but I'm gonna be honest, I haven't played this series enough to really warrant. I feel like if you haven't played at least half of the games, like, you can't really give, like, a full blown. Same thing with Time Splitters. Like, I really didn't play. My experience with Time Splitters was going back and playing Time Splitters when they added them to PlayStation Premium. That's the only experience I had. I didn't play these when they were, like, actually being released on, like, PS2. So my experience with Time Splitters is just, like, kind of like going back and playing them. And for me, it's a nah. It's a nah. I did not really enjoy. So I'm just gonna put those in never played. Titanfall, definitely going and not good for me. Titanfall, I just wasn't a fan of it. I mean, for a game that's like PvP, or it's really PvPvE, I just didn't like the whole bots, and, like, I've never been a fan of that. Fortnite does that. You know, Marvel Rivals does that. Any game that puts you in matches with bots or includes bots into the matches to kind of like buff up your experience and make you feel good. Like, oh yeah, man, we're playing against bots. Like, oh man, I just went 40-5, but you know, out of those 40 kills, like 25 of those kills were bots, and I only killed like, you know, a handful of human players. It's just like, it just don't sit right with me, bro. And then, you know, then you have the Titans come down. I enjoyed the campaign for Titanfall, but I just wasn't a fan of like the multiplayer. And I feel like the multiplayer is like really the meat and potatoes of the game. You know, same thing with Call of Duty. You have your campaign, and then you have your multiplayer, and then you usually have like a third mode as well too, either like, you know, Warzone or Zombies or like Spec Ops mode or whatever like that. But for me, Titanfall, you got campaign, and then you have, you know, multiplayer. And if you're going 50-50, I enjoyed the campaign, but the multiplayer is just wasn't for me. It wasn't my cup of tea. So I'm going not good, you know. Y'all can kill me in the comments if y'all want. I'm totally cool with that. I'll die on that hill. Next we have Jagged Alliance, which I've definitely never played, and I've definitely never even heard of that. So that's going into never played. Syndicate, I have no clue what this is. Only Syndicate I know is Assassin's Creed Syndicate. So that's gonna go definitely in a never played section. Under Night, is that what that says? In Birth, never played. Be honest, never even heard of it. Whatever this is, I can't tell if that says Doofus or Rufus or D-O. It looked like it says D-O-F-U-S, Doofus, and then it looks like this says Wolfus or something. I don't know what that even says. I'm gonna be honest with you. I can barely read it, but based off of the whatever this name is or whatever this logo is, I definitely haven't played this. So we're definitely going that, and we're definitely throwing that and never played. Same thing with Project Diva. We're definitely putting that and never played. Definitely haven't played that. Undertale and Deltarune, also games that I've definitely heard of. Undertale constantly get mentions, especially when people talk about like really good indie games. I've seen people talk about Undertale nonstop. I've seen Undertale mentioned in hundreds of thousands of YouTube videos, anything involving gaming, especially from like the 2010s. I've constantly seen Undertale brought up constantly on YouTube videos. So definitely know what Undertale is. Personally, have never played it, but definitely on my backlog of games to eventually play. Same thing with Shovel Knight. Never played Shovel Knight. But I've heard so much about it. I've heard people talking about Shovel Knight. Oh man, you got to play it. It's a good game. But personally, again, never played it. Let's see, Plants and Zombies, or Plants vs. Zombies, Garden Warfare, another game that I've definitely heard of. Plants vs. Zombies series, very popular series. Just never was my cup of tea. Like I've seen videos on it, but I've never personally played it. Same thing with Bendy. Never even heard of this, never played it, and don't know what it is. Super Mario Land. Now I'm kind of shocked that Super Mario Land is considered its own franchise, but Super Mario Land definitely going into the very good pile for me. Definitely love Super Mario Land, especially the Game Boy version of Super Mario Land. Kind of shocked. But then again, Super Mario Land has like about 3 or 4 games, I think. So I guess you can consider its own series. I kind of put Super Mario Land in the same thing as Super Mario, but maybe Land is considered separate from the normal games or Super Mario World games. I don't know, but definitely very good for me. I enjoyed it. Especially the Game Boy version of the games. Let me see, Mini Golf Adventures. I don't think I've ever played Mini Golf Adventures. That would definitely go and never played for me. Papa Louie. Not gonna lie, definitely never played. Dragon Slayers going and never played as well too. A lot of these games, I'm still shocked that I'm seeing so many games that I've never played. Plants vs. Zombies. We just talked about that. Fantasy Zone. which I think there was another Fantasy Zone game that I put and never played as well too, but that would go and never played. Poke Park, I had never even heard of this. But then again, there's so many Pokemon spin-off games that like it doesn't surprise me that there are some Pokemon games that I haven't heard of or never played. Um, but I usually play like the mainline games. There are some spin-offs like Pokemon Pinball that I played or Pokemon the trading card game that I played that I enjoy, but for the most part, I'm kind of like mainline games only, I guess you can say. What is this? I can't even see what this says. This says Death. Looks like it says Death Core Quest or Death and Quest or something. I don't know. Whatever this is, I definitely never played it. I can barely recognize what it even says. Commander Keen, another game that I've definitely never heard of. Another game that I'm definitely going to have to look up because a lot of these games I'm just like, dog, I've never even heard of this. I don't even know what this says, but definitely haven't played it for sure. Just based on whatever that is. Same thing with this. No clue what this is. Somebody please in the comments let me know what this logo is in this game as well too. Would love to hear from you guys about some of these games. Momodora, definitely another game that I've never played. Never even heard of. Assetto Corsa. This is a racing game. Like, I'm going to put it to never play because I barely played these games. But I did fumble around with like 1 or 2 or 3 of these games. But personally, these again fall to me under like, F1, Forza type of games. Just not fun racing games to me. Like, not my bag at all. Bionic Commando. For me, I'm gonna just go below average. I've played Bionic Commando very, very briefly. Not my bag. Definitely not my bag. Dirt. Again, another one of those games that I've played. I would just say not good. Just not it for me. Easy Red. No clue what Easy Red is. XCOM. XCOM falls under like, well, I've played a XCOM game, but I would say XCOM falls under like StarCraft for me, like a game that I think more so people play it on PC than anything. XCOM, just not my bag. Anything that's like real-time strategy or anything like that, just really not my bag. I'll be completely honest with you. The Blackguards, another game that I've never played. Definitely could put that in never play. Pathologic, another game that I've never played, but I've definitely heard of, but never played. Delta Force, never played. But if this is the Delta Force game that I'm thinking of that just recently came out, I've heard about it, but never played it myself. Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, yeah, definitely. I could say that I've played around with some Yu-Gi-Oh! Games, but for the most part, never played them. Like, never, like, full-on played them. We got 3D Pinball here, which I definitely play. I would say, for a pinball game, I would say it's about average. But overall, just for just a game, I would say it's below average. But I'll be nice enough and put it in average, bro. It's just your typical pinball game. Are there better pinball games? For sure. But it is just an average game, though. So I'm willing to put it in average just for the sake of, not trying to shit on it. Flowers, I've never even heard of this game. So I'm putting this in never played. A Boy and His Blob, another classic old school game that I've definitely heard of. Seen people, talk about, seen gameplay on, but personally have never played myself. Same thing with Tales of. I've heard about the Tales of series. Never really played it myself. Let's see. We could, The Blob, yup, we could throw that as well and never played. Never played that. Zone of the Enders, another game that I can honestly say never played. Like, I feel like more so than not, a lot, majority of these I just haven't played. But I can't wait to see what this looks like in the end, because right now, like, that never played list is going crazy, right? even though that there's some games on here that I've played or I've played somewhat, I'm still putting on a never played list. But I feel like I'm just curious to see how this list overall is going to look once we're done. Like once we go through everything. Driver. Let's do Driver. Driver's another series that was like considered like a GTA like clone type of series. Okay, I have no clue where did Driver go to? Hello? Where the hell did Driver go, bro? I just had it in my hand. I just let it go like right here in like the horrible section and it just disappeared somehow. Okay, it just teleported back to there. Okay, that's not weird at all. All right, so we're gonna put it here in horrible for a second just to talk about it. But again, Driver's one of those series that like people consider the GTA clone just because of the aspect of it being an open world game, but it wasn't really a GTA clone because it kind of lended itself more to driving more than anything. Kind of like how Watch Dogs is considered a GTA like type of clone, but the main mechanic in Watch Dogs is more so like the hacking aspect of it. So it isn't really much like a GTA clone compared to something like Saints Row. You know, it would fall more along the lines of like a GTA clone. So for me, I played Driver. I played Driver 2 and 3. I've played most of the series. For me, I'm going below average just because I felt like it was one of those series that gets, I don't want to say beefed up. I don't want to say, I would say overrated if anything. Like I feel like it's a series that a lot of people talk up that it's much better than what it is. If you go back and play Driver today, it really doesn't hold up. It doesn't really hold up in my opinion. Like just me. I don't think it holds up. I say the same thing about like a game like Infamous where it's like the story and gameplay for the most part is still fun, but it can be janky. Driver is just like, it just doesn't hold up to me, man. So, but even playing back then, I felt like it just wasn't as good, bro. Like in my opinion, I guess we could add a couple of games that again that I've never played. Fear and Hunger. Fear and Hunger is definitely a game that I've personally never played. So I'm gonna throw that on the never played list. What's another game that I haven't played? Summon Night. We can throw that on there. We could throw what was that other game that I just seen? There was just another game here that I just seen that I definitely haven't played. Okay, here, Ark in a Heart. I'm gonna be honest, never even heard of this. I'm assuming it's like an anime game just based off of this logo and name. Maybe like an anime fighting game or something. I'm not really sure. Never even heard of it, to be fair. Whatever this is, Don Pachi. Never played this, never even heard of it. But let's go up to some games that we have heard and have played. Persona definitely going a bit on the higher tier side for me. Even though I haven't played a good amount of them, I would throw Persona in a very good. My experience with Persona is Persona 3 and Persona 5. Persona 5 Royale, that's about it. But what I have played from these series, like, I genuinely love, I can say. Same thing with the Shin Megami Tensei series, which is where Persona kind of came in at or whatever, or came from, I guess I should say. So I would put both of those together in very good, in my opinion. Although there is a lot of those games that I still have yet to play, but I would throw those in very good just from like my brief experience with those games. Same thing with Uncharted. I would have to throw Uncharted in the very good section as well too. Definitely a series that I love. Uncharted 1 is a little rough to play nowadays, but Uncharted 2, Uncharted 3, Uncharted 4, Lost Legacy, like bangers. Well, Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 3 and Lost Legacy bangers. Uncharted 4, wasn't that big of a fan of Uncharted 4 just because we kind of just got the brother out of nowhere, and then just I don't know, just I wasn't a fan of the story of Uncharted 4. So I'll just leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. But yeah, but most of the series, banger after banger though. Path of Exile, definitely a game that I haven't played. Anno, I definitely played recently or tried it out and wasn't a fan of it, but I'll throw that in never played, because I probably played it for like maybe an hour or two and was just like, yeah, hell no. But Pillars of Eternity, another game that I haven't played. Command and Conquer, another game that I've definitely heard of but never played myself. Same thing with Monster Rancher. Horizon, a very good game series. Horizon Zero. I'm assuming this is Horizon Zero Dawn. If I'm hoping I'm not choosing the wrong series or thinking this is the wrong series, but Horizon Zero Dawn, I'm throwing in very good. Very, very good franchise, very good series. Fan of this series. Played both games, platinum both games. 100%ed both Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West. Very, very good games. Very beautiful games too. Like the graphics on these games were just amazing. Just I took so many screenshots when I was playing these both of these games, bro. Like especially Forbidden West. Forbidden West is a very, very good looking game, bro. But yeah, definitely in the very good for me. And I know some people would argue that you could throw them in masterpiece. Some people would probably even make an argument that you could just throw them in good or above average. But for me, the first game is doing the most of the heavy lifting here for this series. Because the second game, while it was enjoyable time, to me it just felt very padded. It felt like very filler, if you will. I felt like they added a lot of things that just didn't need to be added just for the sake of adding it. There's a lot of like side quests and all of that stuff that it just felt like so much filler was thrown into this game. This game could have been like, they could have trimmed the fat a lot on Forbidden West compared to Horizon. To me, Horizon was the perfect game. It also lost a lot of like the mystique and the mystery, because you kind of figured out everything. Like, Horizon is just like, yo, what is going on? What are these machines? And a lot of that mystery and mystique was kind of erased after you played the first game. So the second game, you're kind of just like, well, I already know everything. I know why she's here. I know what she is, who she's based on, and all. I know all of these things and her purpose and goal now. So a lot of that mystique and the lore that you had in the first game, trying to figure out what the hell is even going on, all of that is unearthed. So for the second game, it just doesn't hit as hard as that first game. The first game, Horizon Zero Dawn, absolute banger. If Horizon Zero Dawn was the only game in the franchise, I would definitely have to put it in masterpiece, in my opinion. But with Forbidden West, it kind of brings the series down a little bit, in my opinion. Like, just the story and the characters, it's just, Forbidden West to me is kind of forgettable in a sense. Like, but again, like I said, very, very good looking game though. Very, very beautiful, good looking game. Like, especially like that Las Vegas underwater part of the game, just, oh my god, just absolutely gorgeous, bro. Gorgeous. Let's talk about another series I'm a fan of for sure. We could go F-Zero. We go F-Zero. We go above average for F-Zero. One of those old school kind of racing games. I'm not sure if they put out any recent F-Zero games, because like I said, I don't really play. I'm mostly PlayStation and somewhat PC nowadays. I don't really. I had a Switch, but I played very little games on the Switch. I spend most of my time playing like the classic NES and SNES games on Switch. Played a couple of new games here and there, Legend of Zelda, Super Mario Odyssey, Mario Kart, etc., etc. But for the most part, I'm not sure. I think they put out like a new F-Zero game. I can't remember if it was a new game or just a remaster of the old game. But F-Zero, man, I remember playing this on Super Nintendo as a kid, bro. And on the SNES, F-Zero, you not beating that. That game was fire, bro. Outside of that, though, I couldn't really tell you much about F-Zero. If it wasn't on SNES, I did not play it, most likely. So, but just my experience on that one game, yeah, I would definitely put it in that category, in my opinion. Whatever this is, race, never played this, don't know what that is. I'm gonna be honest with you. Combat Wings, definitely haven't played that. I'm not sure what that is. Daytona USA, definitely never played this, but I'm pretty sure this was like an arcade game if I'm not mistaken. Definitely didn't play this. One of the games that I'm shocked that I haven't seen, and I might be speaking prematurely, but I'm shocked that I haven't seen Cruis'n Exotica yet, bruh. Even though that was mostly like a arcade series type of game, there were definitely Cruis'n Exotica games made for like Dreamcast and whatnot. So, and I think there was a Cruis'n Exotica game for Nintendo 64. So I'm kind of shocked that I haven't seen Cruis'n Exotica yet, bro. But that was my game, bro. Like Cruis'n Exotica. That yo, so many quarters wasted, bro, in the arcade playing that game, bro. Like, oh man, Tony Hawk's. Yeah, we gotta go Tony Hawk's, bro. We have to go Tony Hawk's, bro, and we have to go Masterpiece, bro. Because here's the thing: most of the games in Tony Hawk series were bangers, bro. Like I can there's been some bad Tony Hawk's games, but same thing with like Final Fantasy. With the criteria I use for Final Fantasy, like for every game that you might say was a bad Final Fantasy game, I can return fire with a fire ass Tony Hawk's game, bro. Like Tony Hawk's 1, like to me the best game in the series is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4, Thug 2. Easily the games I played the most. I spent the absolute most amount of time on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. And then after Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4, I spent the absolute most time on Thug 2. Probably my most played games. Like I probably played Thug 2 more than anything, but Thug 1, Thug 2, Pro Skater 4, Pro Skater 3, Pro Skater 1 and 2, 1 and 2 remake, like Project 8, which I love way more than Proving Ground. I wasn't really a fan of Proving Ground, but Project 8 I liked. Proving Ground, American Wasteland. Like, I've never played 5 or like Ride or Downhill Jam. Those are like the only games that I didn't play. But those games are more often than not panned, and people say that those games are bad. But for me, I would say for the most part, the franchise is looked at in good light, bro. Like, and then they just recently put out the remakes for 3 and 4, which I haven't, or the remasters for 3 and 4. I haven't played those games yet, but based on what I've seen, I probably will like at least 3. Not sure about 4 with the whole career mode fiasco, but yeah, man, Tony Hawk's definitely classic, definitely bangers, bro, for sure. Let's see, what series could we look at next? The Crew. We could do the Crew. The Crew. I played this very briefly. I'm going below average because again, like I said, I'm not really a fan of racing games like that. And the Crew came out at a time where like I wasn't really playing racing games. If the Crew came out when I was a kid, I probably would have this ranked higher. I probably would have enjoyed it more. But as an adult, racing games just don't do it for me like that. I'm gonna be completely honest. And then there was the whole fiasco with the Crew about like, them shutting down the servers and I don't know, refunds or something like that. I remember this was a whole thing or whatever. So yeah, man. Then we have Parappa the Rapper, which I played the first game, never played any of the other games outside of the first Parappa the Rapper. And I still remember that song where it was just like kick, punch, all in the mic. Something. And then it's like kick, punch, chop, block. Like this was an absolute banger, bro, when I was a kid playing PlayStation, bro. Absolute banger, bro. Now, outside of the first game, I couldn't tell you anything. But that first game, bangers, bro. Definitely a good series, bro. More Yu-Gi-Oh game, Duel Monsters, but like I said, I wasn't really a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh, Duel Monsters, and all of that stuff. I watched the anime. I was like the anime card collecting type, not really so much the video game type, bro. So, it's gonna be a pass for me. Never played. I have no idea what this is, but I'm gonna imagine that I probably never played this, so it'll go in the never played pile. Same thing with Asphalt. I'm assuming that this is a racing game because it's called Asphalt, but definitely never played for sure. Corpse Party, another one of those anime games. Heard about it, never played it though myself. Whatever this is, ACE, never heard of it, never played it. Not gonna pretend like I did. Same thing with Wizardry. That would go and never played. Kid Icarus or Icarus, however you pronounce it. I'm probably butchering that. But I've never played this either. But just like Pitfall, I've heard of this game. I've heard of the name. This is one of those old school games. But personally, I've never played this. So I'm not going to put it in like, I sort of played it or anything like that. What is this? Drawn to Life? Excuse me. I said drown. Drawn to Life. Never played this either. Never even heard of Drawn to Life, if I'm being completely honest. Story of Seasons, never played this, but I'm pretty sure Stories of Season is like, man, I was just looking at people talk about Stories of Seasons. I can't remember what the franchise is called. It's not Stardew Valley. It's kind of like Harvest Moon. That's what it is. It's like Harvest Moon, bro. And I was just talking about this, or, reading a discussion about it, because they were just talking about Yakuza and the name change, and this was one of those games that kind of had that issue with the name change, with like Harvest Moon, Story of Seasons, and I don't know, but I just recently seen this, and I know of it, but again, never played it, so that's the reason why I brought that up, because I just recently was seeing people discuss that game. Endless, never even heard of this game. I'm surprised that I haven't seen another series that I'm shocked that I haven't seen on here was the Condemned series. I'm surprised I haven't seen Condemned, Criminal Origins or whatever. I'm surprised, because that was a series that I know people really enjoyed. Yokai Watch, definitely never played that. That's going to never played. Let's look at some games I have played. So I have played Animal Crossing, and I would put Animal Crossing in good. For me, it's not very good, but it is good for what it is, and it's one of those comfy games. I played Animal Crossing New Horizons for Switch, and that's really where it ends there. I never really played any other games, but my experience with Animal Crossing, I did enjoy. It was one of those games that I would like play when I really didn't feel like playing the game. Like, I didn't really feel like playing a game that requires me to focus, and I gotta pay attention, and I'm shooting and I'm jumping and I'm doing all of this stuff, and it's like, oh man, you gotta really be paying attention to what you're doing. Like, one of those games that you could just sit back while you're watching like a movie or a TV show and just screw around in, like kind of like Minecraft, like a game where you could kind of just turn your brain off and just play and not worry, but yeah, that was a decent game for me. Like, I have no complaints about Animal Crossing. Another game series I was a fan of, True Crime, and because technically speaking, so True Crime, there's really 3 games in the series. Although technically speaking, there's only 2 games. There's True Crime Streets of LA, True Crime New York City. But technically speaking, Sleeping Dogs is like technically the 3rd game in the series, right? But we are gonna pretend like that's its own thing. But it's really a true crime game, right? True Crime, I didn't really play Streets of LA. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't really play Streets of LA. I briefly played Streets of LA. I do need to go back and like finish Streets of LA. But for me, the bulk of my playing time came from True Crime New York City, which, being born and raised in New York City, I love that game. It was the first time in gaming where somebody actually had like a game for New York with like actual real streets. Like, Liberty City's supposed to be based on New York City and GTA realm, but the city didn't look like New York City. You know, it didn't look like New York City. It didn't, you know, have the same names or streets or whatever boroughs as New York City does. It was just considered based on New York City when it wasn't really New York City, right? Liberty City and GTA 3. Then there's Liberty City and GTA 4 where it was like more resembling of New York City. You had Algonquin, which looked like Manhattan, and like Times Square that looked like Times Square, 42nd Street and whatnot. You had Bohan that kind of resembled the Bronx. You had the Statue of Happiness, which resembled the Statue of Liberty and all of that stuff. So, you know, you had its, you know, the huge park in Liberty City, Algonquin, that's like a mimic of Central Park and whatnot. So you kind of have, you know, sections, and then I think eventually when we got to the Division 1, it kind of imagine like Manhattan with like actual street names and stuff like that. But that was really like only the second time that we had a real replica of New York or New York City. But it was only Manhattan though, again. This was like the first time that we really got that with True Crime New York Cities, where you could actually go to Harlem, 125th Street, and see it. Now, obviously, it wasn't like a one-for-one copy of Harlem, but you could go to 125th Street, you know, East 125th Street, and go to like Harlem. You could go like to 42nd Street and see Times Square and stuff in True Crimes New York City. So for me, that was just amazing to finally see in a video game as somebody that's born and raised in New York City. Again, never really played Streets of LA, but New York City, I played the hell out of New York City. And I would say that Sleeping Dogs does most of the heavy lifting for this game, because True Crimes New York City, as much as I've loved this game, like I genuinely love True Crimes New York City, if I'm being honest with you, actually, I would have to bring this down. Even though Sleeping Dogs does a lot of the heavy lifting, True Crimes New York City was glitchy and buggy as hell, bro. Like, I'm talking about buggy as fuck. I'm talking about falling through the floor, being teleported out of, you know, buildings and stuff. Like, just absolute, just crazy ass bugs. Like, crazy bugs, bro. Like, and this was the time before, like, you know, online multiplayer, like, you know, PSN and, you know, Xbox Live. This was before you could just download a patch and just fix all the bullshit in the game. If it was bugged and glitchy, the bug and glitch was on the disc, and there was nothing that you could do. The only way they could fix these bugs and glitches is if they came out with a new edition of, like, you know, the Platinum Edition, the Greatest Hits Edition. They put out a whole new disc or game. A lot of those bugs and glitches got fixed on those versions of the game. But prior to that, like, you know, downloading the patch update, oh, Cyberpunk is fucked up. Oh, this game is fucked up. Oh, well, we just put out a patch. We'll put out a first week patch. We'll put out a patch a month later and fix the game and make the game good. Oh, No Man's Sky is fucked up, or it's not what we thought it would be. Yo, we'll just put out a patch and fix the game. This was before those days, so there was no patch or update that you could just put out and fix it again. Like, unless you put out like a greatest hits version, a platinum version of the game or something like that, you weren't getting any of those fixes. So yeah, True Crime, as much as I love the series, you know, I would put it in good just because of how glitchy and buggy those first two games were. Sleeping Dogs, classic game, love that game. If we're just going based off of Sleeping Dog just being its own entity, I would put Sleeping Dog in very good. But you know, the other games kind of bring it down with the bugs and glitches and whatnot. Even though the games were still fun, even with all the bugs and glitches, I would still put it in a good category. But that's going to do it for today's video. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe for more content. And as always, I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.